Did you just press play?
I did.
Okay, Jacob. I'm gonna count down, and
I just wanted to be authentic.
you're live. Okay, well,
Welcome to Two Guys, One Bite, where Jacob Dahl and Marcin Garceau talk about sensitive topics as well as what's on our mind. How can we be better people?
After a heavy workout where we're just...
It's because you secretly like to do in-depth talks after long, strenuous activity.
I absolutely hate it. I think it takes away from my personality.
Yeah.
But today, we're bringing it back to what makes good character.
What makes good character?
What makes good character?
Maybe it's somebody who's compassionate.
So you're saying you have bad character?
Hey, who knows? What's the definition of compassion?
Oh, well, no. The definition of like a good character, kind of summarized.
Wait, what do you have? So what do you have on your phone right now?
When someone's
What does Google say?
No. This is my notes that I totally didn't get from Google.
Yeah, what does Google say?
When someone's actions, habits, and emotions, emotional responses are aligned with their morality and good. That includes both public and private actions, and both can affect a person's character. So not only the actions you do publicly and what the people see, it's the actions you do behind when you're by yourself. I think that's a very beautiful one because I think it's toxic where you can almost show good habits and like to people around you. It's almost manipulating. Yeah. And then, but who are you really in the dark?
Who are you behind the mask?
You betcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were kind of spot on when we've talked about this. Is when somebody does what they not only what they say they're going to do, because you can say you're going to do something that goes against your morals, but when somebody lives up to their own beliefs.
100%. And like I think that it all revolves around. It's kind of funny because I feel like I'm always coming back to it in our conversations, but small habits is what the greatest benefit is, and to gather and gain more good characteristics. Yeah. It's all through little habits and practice. Right. And so it's just taking your time and understanding how to better yourself. But like we always also go back to when we're ever trying to better ourselves, you have to reflect yourself. You have to have the hard conversation. What are some bad characteristics I'm doing? What is some bad character, and what are some good ones, and what are some ones that I'm in search for? And then be aware of it, because if you're not letting yourself know, then you're just kind of avoiding the growth that you could have.
It's kind of interesting. That definition, I feel like, opens the door to...
Very broad.
It's very broad.
In a good way.
Yeah, because you can have two people with very different beliefs that have good character because they both act and behave in a way that is in accordance to their, or is parallel to their beliefs. So as long as you are living what you preach, you technically have good character, is according to that definition, which is, I can agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, like, for a big one for me with good character, it sounds so easy, but it's so hard. I think it's easy face to face in the public, but it's hard when you're in your own area. It's honesty. I think honesty really crafts and builds good character, and it's a hard practice. And especially like, it's funny because my mom and I grew up with the phrase white lies, where it's just like, it's not like harmful and it's not like detrimentally affecting. And it was never anything bad, but like reflecting, I'm like, if I could even just hone in on like the white lies, the little ones, the little crutches, and just kind of like we're always saying, like, take life to the face and just kind of like take the wheel and own it. Yeah. That's a great practice. So I think honesty for like my soul. Yeah. When I want to compare a good character, I think that's a big one for me. Through how I reflect others when I am saying, do you have good character? Are you an honest person? Right. And do you follow through with it? Yeah. And then am I an honest person? Do I follow through with it? Yeah. And that's also when nobody else is there. Am I getting up and
doing what you said you're going to do?
Being honest and true to myself. Yeah. Yeah.
I think it also comes into honesty with your beliefs, and then the courage to speak your beliefs.
Courage is a beautiful one.
So like honesty and courage are kind of tied hand in hand, because yes, you have to be honest with yourself and courageous enough to take the leap. If you want to better yourself, if you are somebody that's like, maybe you're unhappy with what you're doing at the moment, or you want to try to pick up a new endeavor or habit, and you're trying to new things and having the courage to do the new things, even though it could be scary. But also, I think where we as people have a really hard time is that we all have our beliefs of how things should be or how things should go. But when confronted by another person, if we feel like we might hurt someone's feelings, we don't speak the beliefs into fruition.
Well, I also think that ties into, so I'm somebody who takes the weight of how it might affect somebody.
Yeah.
And my practice is, instead of avoiding the conflict, it's that I'm choosing to improve myself on my choice of dialogue. And so I think it's the courage to also challenge myself to, if I want to get this point across and to be a little bit more like, not necessarily softer, but have the intention of not hurting. I just got to practice better dialogue to make sure that it can be absorbed and heard in a way that with my intention, instead of the way that I know like some people might get affected. And I have a little practice of just ripping the Band-Aid off and understanding that a little bit of that full honesty through courage, the courage to give that raw, full, honest explanation to somebody is what they need. And it's also growth I need to work on.
I think we all honestly need, just using honest so much. I think we all need to work on dialogue in general. I especially have to work on dialogue. I'm definitely more on the opposite side of that spectrum.
Oh, you're a writer too, man. I mean, like, we've always talked about it. Like, I'm always very intimidated by, I feel like, my lack of knowledge with vocabulary, and it's, we'll get into that. But you were saying, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. You're right. And where was I going?
Come on, wake up.
I'm here.
No, I want to go do a big workout.
I'm talking.
You're not right, Jacob. We're perfectly fine. We can do these podcasts.
We're fine.
No, it's okay.
I think, on the podcast note, I think it's better to just have the conversation anyway, even if we are feeling tired, just because otherwise it's really easy to fall into the weeks go by without recording anything.
100%, because it's like we're juggling right now with our days. There's only 5 days a week that we're doing this, and it's like, okay, now here's another ball. Yeah. Now give a day just for the podcast. Exactly. Like, it's just like, oh damn.
So my brain.
We're here. We're present. We're giving it.
All right, back to good character. We're talking about honesty. We're talking about living what you preach. Being courageous, which to me means being capable enough to decide what you believe and then speak that into the world without feeling like you can't because you're worried how other people are going to perceive you or be judged. So instead, we keep things to ourselves, and I don't think it's a sign of good character if you are constantly a chameleon in whatever situation that you're in. Does that make sense?
Elaborate a little bit more. So it's like you're not being truthful to who you are, that you are adjusting in every dynamic of the situation, and it should be better to be your grounded self in every situation. Now, give me some 2 examples of when one person's this way and then they switch to this way.
So let's say we've all been in situations in our life where we feel insecure. Mm-hmm. Whether it starts at a young age and you're just trying to figure out where you fit in the school or high school, or you go to a new school and you're trying to figure out where you fit in, and you make it on a new sports team and you're trying to figure out where you fit in, but then you see the person that comes in and it's like they own the space, and no matter who they're around, they're always the same exact person. Mm-hmm. Whereas the chameleon changes their... Geminis are very good at being chameleons.
Because it could be a defense mechanism too.
I'm not saying it's like it's a bad character trait. I'm saying that it's something to overcome to develop
a sense of growth. Yes. So it's not a bad trait. Yeah. It's something where when utilized the proper way and with a little bit more control, but that's just the way, because I'm a Gemini. You're a Gemini.
So I'm experienced in the aspect of, like, there have been times in my life where I'm changing what I say and what I do depending on who's around me, because I want to be liked by everybody. Mm-hmm. Whereas the opposite. When you go to the opposite side, it's less about being liked by everybody and more just liking who you are. And if somebody doesn't like you, they don't like you. You're going to find the people that resonate with you if you just be true to who you are, and that's the good character trait. So it's rather than me trying to go out and change because I think that Jacob's going to like this version of me better. You know, it's like something as simple as you being like, I love Naruto.
Because then it's just trying to please everyone else.
Exactly.
And I just had self-reflection growing up where I'm like, it was almost hurting me trying to make everyone happy because I wasn't being truthful to myself. So, and I also didn't need to do that.
Well, we all do it. This is something
Touche.
everybody does. So I'm
Touche.
just putting it out there like, hey, once you can get to the point where you don't care what other people think.
And it's not even, it's so funny. I want to filter that. It's not it's a sense of, yes, don't care.
Yeah.
But the dialogue that I choose to kind of deliver with that is you've earned and owned who you were, that it's just a sense of relief that you don't notice it.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily like I don't care that I'm going to be who I am. It's that I've taken the time to earn this comfortable place in my soul and my body that I'm deciding. Yeah.
I also think it comes with confidence. So
confidence is a good one.
Yeah, and I'm not saying
because that's where the growth comes from. That's where the comfort.
Yes, and I'm not trying to say. So somebody can take that and easily be like, oh, cool. Then I don't care what people think. I'm just going to do nothing. Because I'm perfectly content and I don't want to do anything. And I'm not saying that person has to change or if somebody's completely content and they just want to, I can't really think of a better example than of me just like sitting at my kitchen table and just playing video games all day, explaining to myself, hey, this is fine. You're happy. You can just keep doing this. And I didn't care what people thought because I was having a good time. That's one way to look at it. But another way to look at it is you become so confident in the direction that you're going that when people are saying, or let's just use examples where people are like, oh, you're doing too much, you tone it down, like enjoy your life. I'm confident enough in the direction that I'm headed that that doesn't bother me. Like I don't care if somebody thinks that the way I'm living my life isn't what makes people happy.
And I think I always reflected back to fish oil supplements because it was the first time I had my aha moment. Taking fish oil is the classic supplement where you go, I don't feel these benefits. I don't notice it.
Yeah.
And then when you stop taking it, you're like, ooh, now you're a little creaky. You're feeling that unlubricated. You got a little arthritis. And you're like, wow, I've had benefit, but I never trusted because I never had this. It was actually doing something. You never took it in. So now we're doing this process, and my wife goes back to Minnesota, and I was just like, yeah, I'm just going to take a day of video games. Like, I'm just like, took one night, and it was just like all of the habits I've been practicing, the morning routines with my wife, the morning walks and this and that, and the practice and the breathing and the making all my own food. I was buying out all the food and just kind of sticking around watching a bunch of anime and TV. And the first half day was awesome.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the full day I was like a little taken back. I woke up and I almost had this I didn't have the same fuel that I had every morning for the past 2 months that I had the next day. And then I was like, you know what? I just kind of want to stay in this slump a little bit. And the next thing you know, I'm 2.5 days in a slump. And then the night of that third night, I'm like, whoa, aha moment. I didn't understand how beautiful the process was of practicing who I am every day, taking ownership, having the courage to do it, being honest to myself. And then I kind of sidelined them, and I got educated on exactly what you're saying right now. And this happened to me last weekend. And it was just cool because it's just now I get to see that the process of what I'm doing coming up on 3 months it's working, man. And it's just little battles, little habits.
Yeah. And what's interesting about that is I feel like a lot of the pushback on the pursuit of more comes in the form of the word balance and you have to live a balanced life and everything in moderation. And to me, if you live that way, your life is just going to stagnate and it's just going to average out.
Rephrase it for me.
So, and it's not to say that you can't I disagree with the word balance. It's the way I feel like it's viewed. So
good. I like that he came back and said it that way.
Yeah,
because balance is very beautiful. Balance is very important.
It's very beautiful. Life is full of balance.
Beautiful.
But yeah, I know beautiful is a key word here. But
I go through saying one word for like 2 or 3 months, and my wife always calls me out on it. Now that we're coming up,
yeah,
5.5, 6 years.
Say it
my word of the last 2 months is beautiful.
Hey, it happens. It happens. But I feel that you need extreme, because in order to be successful at a certain thing, you have to pour your soul into it.
Diamonds are built under pressure.
Like there has to be a pressure. You have to apply. Mm-hmm. It can't just be a balanced effort all around, because then nothing will truly get done.
That's why I like college, man. It's hard.
Yeah, it's hard, and
it's
you get things
pressure.
done. Mm-hmm. And then you get things done.
You absorb and you learn and you grow.
But you know what? You also have throughout college vacations. Mm-hmm. It's not
balance.
Full intensity all the time. Exactly. It's a form of balance. It doesn't have to be 50-50 all the time.
And it's having that overview where you're like, okay, I get this reward.
Yeah.
And if I grind and I create these habits and the structure, I'm going to be respecting myself the best.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be getting that sleep, getting that nutrition, going out, and then saying, I'm going to leave at this time, and be respectful to yourself, and I'm going to order out this time. I'm going to, like, you know what I'm saying? It's just having those little wins until you got this big win. You got summer vacation. You decide to go backpacking. One year decide to go do abroad.
Yeah.
Like, beautiful.
So let's just use a common vice. Drinking alcohol, right? Common vice. Somebody says, I really want to work on not drinking. Okay. It's not, well, I'm just going to, what I would suggest is, if you know that you're going to go to a festival, you're going to a festival in a month and a half. How about for that month and a half before that festival, you don't drink. And you really dive into bettering yourself for that month and a half. The balance comes where once that month and a half is over, you can go enjoy yourself at the festival. But where I think the issue is with balance is people apply it every day, where it's like, oh, well, I'm just going to have one today. I'm just going to have one the next day. And now, to me, you're no longer really working on it. Mm-hmm. You've just kind of dialed it. Whereas I believe it's more beneficial to really dive headfirst into it and pour your all into it. And then you can take a step back after a while. Mm-hmm. Then you pour your all into it and you take a step back. That is going to get better results.
So, good character.
Yeah.
We're on the phrase of balance. Now, balance, we're bringing this concept of drinking. And we're thinking about how we're doing this 180.
Yeah, I kind of got off track on the good character.
Exactly. But I don't want to get too deep in that. I want one concluding statement where I'm just like, when you are trying to put intensity in, like, I want to do the other side of the coin. Let's say.
So we're building good character.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
We're trying to build good character, but to us, the good character is. We are trying to grow and to develop into better versions of ourselves, because we have a higher sight on what success is. So somebody else could be like, well, I'm successful because it is important to take into account the success that you have. Okay. You know, beautiful wife, you're working, you don't have to sleep on the street, you have food. Like,
we could go forever on that.
Exactly. To people, we are successful. But having a higher sight of, you want to start your own art Etsy shop. You want to make necklaces. You want to create your own kind of like wire rock necklaces. That is a success goal for you. Mm-hmm. It's not that what you have isn't enough. It's that you want more, and in order to get there, you're going to have to put intensity, and that sort of good character required to get there is what you're striving for.
Well, and I had a really big, another aha realization, dude. I'm just like kind of sitting back and practicing. It kind of ties into good character. It's just a fun story. I want to bring it up. Okay. I've just been thinking about how, like, we really got a good man. And, like, life is, like, crazy. Like, I forgot who it is. Who's, like, that hillbilly kind of, what's his name? Ted. He does a lot of podcasts. He kind of talks like this. And he's just like, I just really, like.
He's got the hair.
Hair, yes.
Yeah, I don't know his name. Oh, Theo Vaughn.
Theo Vaughn,
yeah.
Somebody was just asking him. He's like, this guy was talking about how he's like, I got everything going on. I got a good job, this and that, and I got some good opportunities and some good trips coming up. Everything's good, but like I feel like I just kind of live in darkness. I got this depression. I know that you're going through it. And he's just like, hey man, here's the thing. Like, you can be whoever and whatever you want. Like, we can think there's a concept of a multiverse, and there's another version. You can be it. If you wanna open up a bakery, and then bake, and then fuck it over, and then decide to burn it down and take the insurance policy, get caught, go to and you're 25 years old, and then go to jail for 6 years. You come out 31, you enlist in the army. Do whatever you want. 4 years later, now you're 35. Now it's just like he's like, you can do whatever you want, and that's why he's like, and look where you are now. And it's just like, I live in America, in Colorado, in Fort Collins, Colorado, in America. Like, it's just, I got a good job, you got good water, like, life is good right now, man. And like, it's just, there's no time to be too stressed, let anxious moments with friends go too long, not have calm conversations with your partner. And it's just like, yeah, let's just keep grinding and not dreading the service industry, and enjoying it, and getting some good sleep, and utilizing our body, and putting some good fuel in there, and practice some art, and sell a little art on the side, and make sure you reach out to family. Like, it's just like, it's so beautiful, but you need those. God damn. It's so wonderful.
Yeah, there you
It's
go.
just-
Okay.
You have to really kind of sit with yourself and kind of talk about how, like, not as big of a deal as some of those big deals are, and how beautiful the moment is, and you can just be whoever you want, man.
Yeah,
And
you can.
you can live this life. You can be a bum. You can play the video game.
Yeah,
You can do that. You can do that for 6 years, and you can be in a hole, and you can be drinking that, and then one day you go, I decide I want to do bodybuilding. And then, like, you start going to a gym, and you go to AA, and you stop drinking. Like, wherever you are in your process, there's so much life. And if you're kind of listen to some of these conversations and it's like not really resonating, maybe it'll resonate in 3 or 4 years. Maybe you had to, like, you can't teach an old dog a new trick after 25, but the only person who can teach you a lesson after 25 is trauma. Let trauma teach you, and come back and listen to kind of some of the small habits that we're creating after we're learning this.
Yeah.
You're listening.
Well, yeah,
Your cock.
my new rooster.
Yeah.
My new rooster. Yeah, it's great.
God,
So
but
you're saying that
the practice
life
of
is beautiful. So from his viewpoint, life is beautiful. It's okay to soak in that beauty.
You can be whatever you want. You can fail in any kind of way. It's just like
but you know what you have to do in order to fail? Try.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So, but also, so let's say like this. Let's say you're kind of in a hole. Like when you were playing video games and you're in that hole.
Yeah.
Were you trying?
I was trying to rank up in a video game.
Yeah. So okay. So yeah. So trying can be broad. Yes.
Yeah.
So
I was still mad. I was angry with myself.
Yeah, but you were
But
trying.
I kept going.
Yeah, you were trying.
But I wasn't trying. So I was trying to better myself in a
So
video
yeah,
game.
I wanted to.
I was trying to better myself in a video game, but you're still. There's this feeling of anxiety, stress, and depression, and at first it's hard to understand where it's coming
ignore
from.
it.
Yeah, because you get really happy when
Push it down.
Yeah, when the wins come, things are good. When the losses come, things are bad, and you end up living for this game that ends up dictating your behavior.
And drinking or smoking
Your
or
behavior
candy
is,
or diet.
Yeah, your behavior starts to revolve around the game. So I do agree with you that life is a beautiful thing, and you have to take it in and cherish
I'm
it.
saying you can be in those moments
Yeah.
where you're not seeing a light that we've been seeing lately because we went through those troubles, and that's why it's like sometimes these conversations and people hear it, they absorb it. And it's like that's heavy. I go, yeah, I know. It was really hard and heavy when I had the aha moment too, and I didn't. I tried. I failed. I tried. I failed. I tried. I failed. And you know what? Now my failure is failing under fitness. It is reaching my body to failure.
So here's an interesting question for
I'm
you.
excited. But that was just kind of.
I
I want to
like
close
it.
that book. It was kind of just like good character kind of ties into
Yeah.
like it's just practice, and over time you can just keep benefiting yourself. And
But the key word in that sentence is practice. Like there has to be an action. It's the action that's going to change the anxiety, the depression. It's the fact that we have tough conversations that gives you that like transcendent moment where without them, and if you just ignore them and push them to the side, there's a feeling you're unhappy.
but even with these conversations now, we've earned this.
Yeah, but how do we earn it?
we earned it because we were in the moment of practice, was being in those moments of moving out here, not knowing anyone, being in 27 breweries, deciding that I'm going to be a beer head, and then gaining 17 pounds and not having a gym, and then saying, like, that was still the practice. The practice was, I had to have my own aha moment. And my best friend Owen, who married my wife and I, he was the one who was also in a moment of an aha moment. And then we grew and we kept growing, and then you and I also met each other in an aha moment after, like, our leveling up, and now we're just sharing how the small practices and the mindsets and the views and how we're trying to better our character is what brought us to here right now in this conversation.
Yeah. No, I agree. The image I see is you hit a moment where you start walking up an infinite staircase, and then along the staircase you meet people that are kind of just laying back, just like having a drink, and they say, "Where are you going?" "Oh, I'm climbing the stairs." "What are you doing?" "Well, I'm content right here." And those people, even though you're putting yourself through this strenuous activity, you drip and sweat, labored breathing, right, seesawing breath, but you have a smile on your face because you're going somewhere and you're acting on that. That's the practice, where it would be really easy if after you put on that 17 pounds, you're just like, this is good. I'm good. I don't need to go anywhere.
Well, and that's the thing, man. I had to go up the staircase. Let's use your view.
Yeah.
And then I got on that floor and I was happy for a bit. I was around a community of wonderful people, awesome knowledge. We were learning, we were kind of settling into the community. It was a good chapter of our life, and then it got a little old. Then the staircase, I had to stop on that floor for a little bit and enjoy it.
I like the analogy of using a floor where people bring
it's a
you into
floor.
the room.
Yeah, Now I decided to keep climbing.
Yeah.
And it's not like, where are you going? Because it can be like, I'm stopping on the floor for a little bit, and it's not like I'm taking rest. I'm saying I'm just elevating myself. Then my buddy and I started going to the gym again, and then the intensity, and now it's like, oh, we were climbing together.
Yeah.
And then there was a moment where we kind of, I got stagnant, where then we were around a community of more bodybuilding, a little bit more kind of showcase fitness, and it was not really necessarily the views that I wanted with my full fitness, and then I got stagnant with it.
Yeah.
And then through our friendship and relationship, started climbing up the stairs again.
Yeah.
And now it's like I just keep passing floors.
Yeah.
In a healthy way, where it's not like this. Now it's, once again, we're going back to people see us. Now we're passing the floor and they go, "Where are you going?" Now we're reaching so high, people are like, "Wow, we can keep going too," or "I want to follow, I want to see the brightness." And that's the good part. It's not somebody sitting here, "Where are you going?" Well, goodbye, leave it behind.
True, yeah.
Because it's very true how you say it like that. But I also want to say it in the view of, it's just, now we're shining so bright. We've reached such a level that, like, now people are like, "Shh, let's go to the next staircase. Let's go to the next floor." And that's what we're doing.
Yeah. Well, that is what the hope is, that the people around you, or let's say somebody passes us on the staircase and they're running up. Like, let's say we sign up for a Tough Mudder.
We're walking and we see someone running up, which we've been in places where we've been doing workouts and hikes.
People doing that, and then those are the people that
on your
push
left.
you. Yeah, on your left, and you're like, "Oh wow, like, I could do more."
Yeah.
Because that person's doing more, and then they lift you up, and you follow those people. So that's the whole conversation of when you surround yourself, who you become, who you surround yourself. So if you're constantly surrounded by somebody that's like, "Hey, dude, like, enough," then you end up slowing down. Whereas if you're constantly surrounded by, like when we were doing ab mat sit-ups, and it's like, "Oh, hey, dude, hit 70." What if there was somebody else there that was like, "I'm doing 200," and you're like, "Shit."
Well, then it's just like, there's this mindset where it's just like, I could hit 80.
Yeah.
Or it's like, what I'm going to tell myself is the strength of what we're gaining is, I'm going to push for 200.
Yeah.
And you know what? If I die out at 135, I still started climbing up the staircase.
Yeah. You're pushing.
Now I didn't get to level 200, the floor 200. I got the floor 135, and you know what? Cool. I never thought I could reach this one. Now you know what? I could kind of stay here for a second and rebound. Now I can gain the knowledge and reflect with myself. What was the practice I had that allowed me to get to this next floor, to keep climbing these staircases?
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying there's a benefit in kind of staying to the side for a second, because then that's what we do. We kind of absorb, and we're like, okay, now how do we go to the next floor? How can we keep gaining? How can we keep growing?
Yeah. And I'm not trying to say you can't take steps back. I'm not trying to say you can't take days off. I love my days off. And I think sometimes it's important to, if I hit a block and you need to back up, go around, figure out the solution, and then you keep going.
Well, that's the thing, man. It's just like I always say, I give so much personality out, and it's like it kind of is like, I think it's around, I go like 2 to 2.5 weeks, and then I hit a wall.
Yeah.
And I look at Megan, and I'm just like, I need like I need the entire night to just sit around,
Yep.
play some video games. She's like, do you want me not to be here? I go, oh no, I want your presence there. I'm just saying, like, I'm telling you, I'm clocking out.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna be. I'm gonna be here. I'm not gonna be here.
I'm here, but I'm not.
Yeah. And she knows that. And she respects that. That's the beautiful part
Yeah.
about it, because she's helping me. She's listening.
Yeah. You're refilling the tank. People just do it different ways.
She's got good character, man.
Yeah. You know, you're refilling the tank. People do it different ways. Just like when you're driving a car, eventually you got to fill it with gas.
Oh.
Even it doesn't matter how fast you're going. If you're going super fast, you're still eventually gonna have to fill it with gas. You know, and I think that it's not so black and white where it's like bad character, good character.
Mm-hmm.
There's such a wide spectrum that we can work on to apply more good character traits. I do think, and I know you tried to bring this up earlier, we all have tendencies to express bad character traits.
Mm-hmm.
I think hypocrisy is one of those traits, and that kind of goes into the honesty conversation, the courage conversation. Choosing the right dialogue is important.
Big.
But you still have to be able to have the hard conversations.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hesitant to bring this up, but I think it's a really good conversation. And it's nothing. You and I were not in the situation. We weren't there. All right. But we did have a coworker pass away. And I think this is a good conversation, because this can be applied to the responsibility aspect of good character. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm just gonna be sharp. I'm gonna shut down shit if I don't feel like talking about it. We can talk about it. We can be broad.
Yeah.
It's just it can be a good conversation.
Yeah.
But it's also just how we choose the dialogue around it.
Okay, so lead the charge.
So it's like good character. So the thing about it is that I want to first back up. When we talk about bad character, it's not bad person. It's that there was a decision that was just not on the benefiting side.
Yeah.
That it's just something you need to work on. And so when the word bad character is said in the situation, it's not like you're a horrible person, this or that. It's that this is a moment that we can work on. This is the growth. This is the moment where we have to acknowledge that this was a mistake, or we could have done something differently. It was just a night out. Friends were out, and a friend was young and freshly 21, and they were saying their goodbyes, and people were not communicating to her about how she was getting home. And people said their goodbyes, and she left, and she drove home drunk like a month after or so being 21, and drove into oncoming traffic and got hit by a semi. And the conversation is good character. I would rather reflect what are the good character habits than saying bad character. I'd rather give fuel into how we could have done a situation better.
Yeah.
Than pushing someone down and being like, that was the bad one. They can reflect on their own. People know. The story's potent enough.
Right.
It's heavy. So
that was good.
I know. It's just because it's the choice where it's like the good character is to be more attentive and to honest with yourself, having the courage to say, hey, I know that you've been drinking a lot tonight, and I know that you're also new to going out to the bars. What is your game plan to get home tonight?
And then what happens if, let's just put you and I in this situation. I'm drunk. Let's just use me. Everyone's out. We're at a bar.
Yep.
I start giving everybody high fives and, hey, I'm heading out of here. You ask me how you getting home. I'm driving.
Absolutely not.
Okay. You're not my dad. I'm driving.
Oh, dude. So I would beat the shit or break your knees in. But the step is, it's the good character is the attentiveness. I'm putting the time and effort into you and saying, how are you getting home?
Yeah.
And then, of course, if you're in a drunken state and you're going to fight me back.
Of course. That's what
like,
I mean. We've all seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People know who I am.
Yeah.
I do not let that fly.
I heard. And that's great.
And the problem is,
yeah,
sometimes people are afraid of the conflict, afraid of the questioning, and to have even somebody who is intoxicated, but just enough where they could like push it by and kind of push it to the side. It's the good character is to stand your ground and be like, I think it'd be a really smart idea tonight if you got an Uber and you picked up your car in the morning. You know what? It's important to me, and I understand that you're fighting me in this situation. Mm-hmm. How about I buy you an Uber tonight, and then I'll come swing by your house and grab you in the morning. We can grab your car.
Right.
And that's the sense of good character, and that's the practice, and it's being more attentive, and it's hard because.
Well, let's use the opposite side of the coin aspect. So the good character trait is the courage to speak your belief and be honest with who you are. Mm-hmm. Whereas the opposite side of that weakness is the fear of conflict with somebody who's supposed to be your friend, therefore preventing you from doing what you know is right.
Because then it's fear of talking to somebody who is intoxicated, who might emotionally fight you back. And
it's the same fear that comes with any sort of heavy conversation.
You know, and
that fear of conflict of, well, I just want everything to be fine. I don't want that anxiety that comes from having to face that.
And then somebody looking at you and be like, no, like, I'm good. Like, I promise you I'm good.
And then you have to say,
I don't think you're good. And that's the next one, because it's good to talk about it, because like we always say, America is so normalized in alcohol consumption, and that we're also at an age and around a community of people who have now been in their late 20s and early 30s, who in a college town, who have normalized alcohol consumption and understanding their bodies and how they feel, and then the comfort of driving, and having a liquor content of 0.08. Now you're given a toy and saying you're allowed to drink, but just be careful how much you are. Now let's change alcohol percentage in beer, wine, this, whiskey straight. Also, what'd you eat today? Also, how much did you weigh? Also, what's your sex? And then it's just like, okay, if I divide this plus this to the power of this with my body weight, I should be good to drive. Yeah. And it's hard, man. It's a hard conversation. So at the end of the day, we should always just.
But here's another aspect of the good character trait. As somebody who picks up a beer and drinks, you're already rolling the die on a stranger's life. So the good character trait comes into play of, am I planning on drinking today? I just probably shouldn't drive. That's what Ubers are for. But that negative side, the bad character trait, is the little guy on the other shoulder that's like,
you can just make it home.
You're 5 minutes away. You can do it.
What are you gonna do? Pay $13.75 just for an Uber? Well, it's taking responsibility for yourself and saying, I understand, and I'm taking responsibility, and I'm gonna get home in a proper, safe way. And it's hard, man, because like once again we've normalized it, and it's not
normal. And
it's not that I'm saying it's hard not to do. It's that it's.
But it is hard.
It is hard because we've come so much to normalize it, and then you mix in just like, what if you're on this medication? What if you're on this and lack of sleep? It's just, and it's social, and like I said, like I've been craft bartending. I'm certified. Like I see the beautiful art behind craftsmanship and flavor profile.
Yeah.
But
it's tasty poison, dude.
Yeah, it's poison, man.
I get
it. It's just like this. It's just like pizza's poison with how much additives and.
True. Not to the same extent.
100%.
Like if I eat 2 pizzas, I'm not going to die. If I drink a handle of vodka, good. There's a good chance.
If you want to say a handle of vodka, then what happens if you eat 50 pizzas?
The difference is my stomach literally can't hold 50 pizzas.
I know, and the thing about it is, you're going to puke up a handle of vodka. What I'm saying is,
we're getting away.
You know what? You know what, Merson?
Yeah.
I've been practicing this one. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Don't look away. You're right.
But I'm not trying to be right.
I know.
I'm trying to just have discourse.
No, that's me just being like, our knuckleheads are not gonna.
Yeah.
Because it's sad because I don't want to justify alcohol.
Yeah.
Because that's not my intent. It's just like it's hard because with responsibility of anything, there's beauty, and it's just like that's why it's like weed is normalized and mushrooms are decriminalized and now you can drink at 21. It's just like everything that has a level of that can like put you in holes and stuff, and overconsumption can almost be bad. It's just yeah. And
But
it all
at the
reflects
same
good
time,
character.
though, how many deaths are being reported? You know what I mean? Like,
I get
it's tough because it's a really hard conversation to have.
Black and white.
Yeah.
Alcohol is not a good thing.
No, it's not.
And so that's why it's hard because it's not justifying. I don't want to give power.
Right.
But
So why is it so hard to talk about?
well, because like there is a beauty behind it.
Yeah.
And because if I say there's a beauty, you just say, well, statistically deaths. Yes, I can't fight that. But I'm saying a beautiful smoked old fashioned at a wonderful whiskey or a wonderful steakhouse on an occasional snow-filled night that you walked up with your wife, that's hot.
Oh, I'm not trying to take.
I know. That's what I'm trying to
to
say is beautiful, and that's the good characters: the control and understanding, the respect, the honesty with yourself, the courage. Like that's all good character habits. Now, once you start breaking them, you start lying to yourself, and you're not honest, or when you're different when you're with people, and then you're different when you're on your own. It all revolves around good character.
Yeah.
So we can have bad characteristics with the relationship with alcohol. Yes. Now, tying it back, it was hard. I just want to say, close the book. It was a very hard and emotional time at our place of work. When we lost our coworker, she was a wonderful, beautiful soul. I just want to give her the time. She traveled all around the world. Her parents were.
She was ball sunshine.
Yeah, she was just. It was a very, very hard thing, and she was so young and. Yeah, it was hard, and I love every single person that it affected, and I just want to close the book on that one.
So this is the reason I brought it up is because I think part of good character is owning and taking responsibility for the things that you could have done, and I'm not in the same emotional state where I talked about this before, but my best friend also he died due to alcohol. Not the same way. Didn't drive the car, but passed out in his car after he was in rehab, and he bought, I don't know how many beers he bought, but he drank them all in his car, and he always had a really hard time waking up in general. He was a heavy sleeper, and he was living in Florida at the time, and the sun came up and he didn't wake up, and he cooked alive in his car, and he had a heat stroke, drunk. And they didn't find him for, a week. And it's not that I am responsible for the fact that he went out and that happened. It's not like, oh, how dare you allow it. It's owning the fact that I never reached out to check. Who knows what could have happened? It could have still happened. Maybe he wouldn't have been stopped.
So what do you mean reach out and check, if you want to talk about that one?
So I knew my friend had a problem. But I was so busy in my own life that I never took the time to check in.
We can. I have so many questions on that I love, and we can dive into
the aspect. The aspect. It's a simple matter. The responsibility is the word. It's not that. I have no idea what if I could have changed the outcome. Maybe it's a little bit more different if I was there at the time and I could have physically held him. Who knows? I'm not saying it's anybody's fault. It's just the practice of telling yourself, hey, I have to own the fact that I could have said something. And it doesn't mean that people...
And then, it's anyone at any time. It's just let's say, you go to the bars and you have a friend who's passing out, leaving as you're coming in, and you see them and they're like, yeah, I'm heading home. I go, and you can tell that they've been intoxicated. It's right there. Take the responsibility. Yeah. Well, how are you getting home? Well, I'm driving. I go, well, who'd you come here with? And it's just like, do you think, can any of them give you a ride? It's like, no. It's like, can I buy you an Uber? And it's like, even if you weren't part of that group, you always have a chance to show that good character. And it's taking that time. It's taking that practice, because once you become attentive and aware with it, it fills your soul too, to know that you're being so present.
Yeah,
Instead
your
of
attention is there.
Your attention is there.
Yeah.
And that is good character. And like it's a heavy, yeah.
Super heavy. And the tough part about it is like when you have this conversation, the immediate gut reaction is like, I'm being blamed for the behaviors of this person. And it's not supposed to be that. It's just supposed to be a practice of taking responsibility for what happens to you in life, which we as people like to do the opposite. We're very quick to blame anything but ourselves.
Well, it's just like when you hear the words, it's just like when I hear it as an emotional man, I hear take responsibility.
Yeah.
When it's like from somebody, it's like whoa, like it's almost like an attack for me. And now the practice is okay. I need to take responsibility. Like the word is not as big and potent. Like it's not demeanoring me. It's not putting me down. I'm using the word now to practice to better myself. When before it would be like anytime the responsibility was always used to me, it's like, why don't you take responsibility? You should like. There's like a
negative
connotation. Yeah. So the practice is, that's why when people might hear this, it's kind of, they may be taken back. It's because that's the practice that's been towards you, given to you.
Yeah.
Now the one I've been doing is looking at myself and saying, how can I take responsibility? Having that peace, having that respect with the word, and owning it. And that's a lot of stuff that we talk about in this. People hear it and the weight seems so heavy.
Yeah.
It's about taking that and saying, okay, I get to practice on telling myself now in a healthy manner, because we're not here to break anyone down. We're here to have you look internally and like,
yeah, it's tough, and sometimes it's an over practice. Even if there's a part of you that is like, man, like there's nothing that can be done. It's just a practice of saying it where you're taking control of your life. That's going to help you build that good character and that honesty and that courage, and also confidence when you fully take the reins of your life and you're like, you know what? No, that's on me. Even if everybody's like, what are you talking about? There is literally nothing you could have done. No, I could have done something. Just being over responsible. But it feels super uncomfortable. You know, that's what I was having you say today. It wasn't to rub it in your face. Like so the example is, we broke a glass, right? We have a tray. Somebody grabs us and you know, we stumble and the glass breaks. And it's like that woman literally just grabbed you and the glass fell because you stumbled backwards. And it's so easy to be like, dude, if that woman just didn't grab me, the glass wouldn't have broken. But to practice, it's like, if I was a little bit more athletic, I wouldn't have broken that glass.
Oh, it's not even athletic. It's like,
no,
if I have a practice of balance, if like my balance was a little bit better,
athletic is a poor word. It's just it's just the practice of, even though we all know this woman grabbed you as you were walking past and a glass broke, right? Mm-hmm. We all know.
Put me off balance.
Yeah, put you off balance. It's just the practice of you telling yourself,
because this is not your story is not connecting physical attributes. What he's trying to get at is that it's the practice of taking ownership of stuff where you don't even need to say it. It's that practicing it.
Yeah.
So I'm taking ownership that, like, if I had a little bit more stability, I wouldn't have broke the glass.
Yeah.
While I was fighting myself, saying, but she literally this woman literally pulled at me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so the glass broke. So you're looking at me. You're like, well, we'll say like if I had better balance, I could have not broken it. I'm like, but she pulled,
and that's what I'm
trying to get you to see. That's what I'm saying. That's what I was trying to filter because I knew what you were trying to say. So
sorry, that was
my practice was, if I had better balance, or
and it feels uncomfortable.
Yeah, because I'm like, well, no shit.
It feels weird because you want to be like, but she.
But so then I sat in it and I go, I mean, sure, yes. If I had better balance, I might not have broke it. Yes,
and it feels weird, but that's that feeling, that weird.
Now
feeling.
Use it for everything.
Yes,
it's not just a physical attribute. It's like, use it for all this other stuff. If I say the hard stuff that.
Yeah.
No duh.
It's like, hey dude, I'm almost there. I just ran into a red light. You know, like if I didn't run into this red light, I would have been there. Okay. Dude, I'm sorry. I'm almost there. I should have left a little earlier because I ran into this red light on my way. And I didn't plan. And it's not a matter of like me being mad at you. It's a matter of practicing that discomfort.
Yeah, the ownership.
Of ownership. Mm-hmm. Even if it could be a fluke accident, dude. Total fluke. It is a small win because you're now taking ownership of
I left 20 minutes when so it's like, I usually live around like 30 minutes to get to your house.
Yeah.
And then it takes around 17 to 18 minutes to get here. So I leave myself around a 12-minute period in case there's any traffic or this or that.
Yeah.
Get here. So it's like, a train hits. Okay, train will only last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Sometimes before it calls, they stop that.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're there for 20 minutes.
Yeah, dude. You're there.
there's a hard line of like, yes, I can take ownership, but I'm like, I did leave early.
Yeah.
But hey, today there's a fluke,
Yeah.
and I'm stuck behind a train, and that's what is happening. It's not like, yeah. So
It's honestly just a different use of vocabulary, and I'm not trying to like slam people's faces and like, oh, take ownership. Like it's just a practice.
a practice of good character.
And
Practice.
you'll notice
of
that
ownership.
you'll gain more confidence, and here's another thing. If anybody listening to this, just pay attention to the amount of times you blame something else. Like it's not a matter of like, oh, you're all shitty, like you got to do. It's just pay attention to the amount of times, even in your
It's almost excuses.
Yeah, that you give an excuse for something that happened to you because of something else. And then when you feel it happening, reframe it in your head to it being your fault.
And you know what you're doing? You're also practicing self-communication.
Yes.
And
awareness.
Awareness instead of doing avoiding and pushing stuff to a side. And
Yeah.
doing that practice, it's almost like, for me, it's feeling like I put a light inside me. It feels like I'm kind of like I'm taking more control of my life instead of tiptoeing around some situations.
Yeah.
But
if you're having a hard time in your relationship, it's my fault because I'm not communicating how I'm feeling. You know, it's just literally just taking. It sounds so barbaric sometimes, like it sounds kind of almost cruel, but it's a literal mental practice that will, I promise, make you feel better. Like it gives you more control in your life.
And yeah, man.
But
I love this. This is a
good.
good one. I enjoyed it. It was a good. Today was a good growth for our style of practice and our style of dialogue, and bringing in some hard conversations that is needed. And it was good, man.
Yeah,
it was good, man. Good character. Good character.
Yeah.
Any concluding statements?
I would just say practices to put into practice would be or are having the courage to speak your mind, being patient with those around you. Compassion's a great word. I remember I looked up compassion. It's just empathetic towards other people's situations. And I think integrity and good character are pretty much the same. Integrity is just another word for good character, but doing what you say you're going to do, or living your example.
And I like all of practicing good character, like I just said before we started conclusion statements, is self-awareness. And there's so much beauty to learn about yourself. And if anything, look at it as a fun way to just get to know you.
Yeah.
And through almost, in a sense, hypnotizing yourself and saying like, this is not for this way. This is, I'm just kind of learning about myself. And then slowly out of nowhere, you're creating these small good habits. And then you can be like, okay, I got a foundation. Let's try to take a big step this week. Let's try to take a bigger one. So yeah, just keep on working, keep on practicing, keep on living, man.
I like the self-awareness comment because it's as the moment you blame something else, you're no longer focused on yourself. Whereas if you take the blame and then your next question is, what could I have done?
I think it's the best practice.
You know what I mean? Now you're like, oh, what could I have done? What did I do? Could I have done this something a different way? You know? So yeah, you're right. But I'm glad we did this.
Choice of dialogue.
Glad we did this. And yeah.
We're just langue.
Good talk. All right, we're done. That's it.